something that I like, it irks me. I'm interested in how you figured this part out. But like, it is like those scammers that are out there that are like, not even just what Tim had said, where like, give us $1,000 and we'll give you 1,000 whatevers. More like, how do you like understand that someone legit went through a scenario? And I don't think that scenario or is as good as they say they are. And I don't think that person has to necessarily be the top dog in that, but to at least know that person has done it. And so like, I always like to think of it. Yeah, has at least done it, right? I don't care that they've lost it, but they've at least, I mean, I'm sure we know they've learned something in there, but it's like, you don't go to your accountant and ask them about your teeth, probably. Right. And so I call it the Shark Tank effect, where it's like these people watch Shark Tank and now they're the greatest business coaches in the world. It's like, well, hold on, like you're missing, you got 3 minutes of video and there's no context there. You don't understand why this doesn't work. So how did you figure out what was legit and what's not? And how do you still figure out what's legit and what's not in kind of the business advice online or in-person world?
Yeah, you make a great point. And that is, have they done the damn thing? Because if they haven't, they don't know what they're talking about. Right. And, you know, I have dealt with the concept of not, you know, can I present myself as the authority in this site, as a patient advocate, as teaching somebody how to get paid as a patient, that sort of thing. And the truth is, being an expert you don't have to have years of experience behind you. You don't have to have every kind of success. In fact, I think you should have some failures in there and just kept going. You're an expert when you are ahead of someone, when you are steps ahead of someone else and can look back and say, let me show you the path of how I got here. So that's what I run everything through now. Have they done it? And again, they don't have to be 20 years ahead of where, you know, I am, but you need to be ahead of me and you need to have gone through what I am coming up on to help me understand the path.
Yeah. And it's, I'm really interested about the whole sense of community that you found with Hatch. Just, and for those that aren't aware, Hatch was a place that Zack founded many, many years ago. And it was a place where people could just join together and share lessons learned. You knew that you weren't in it alone. I mean, what's your take? I mean, because so you had multiple senses of community, and how has that impacted you and help you've grown your business today?
Well, it's so important. And I think it's funny that so many people now through the pandemic are understanding the importance of community, but it's always been important. It's just more difficult to do it now. So I guess that it's in lesser supply, you know, the law of supply and demand. That the Hatch community was such a touch point for me because everything I was doing was online, and this sort of thing is great, but I loved going. I think it was every Tuesday I'd go to Hatch, go to Norfolk and sit down with other like-minded people who knew the language I was speaking. So a lot of people, particularly my age, aren't necessarily talking about online business. Nobody knew what the hell a podcast was when I started it. None of my friends. And so being able to speak to other like-minded entrepreneurs who are going through the same things or had been through them, that I could pick their brain, or I could say, gosh, I just ran into this. What do you think? It was pivotal. It was instrumental in developing my sense of, definitely my sense of pivot, as I call it, because I watched these people try things. They were flexible and they would try new things. And then the next week we'd come together and I'd go, like, how did it go? You were going to try this, whatever, contest or something on social media, or how did that go? And, you know, if it flew, great, they're going to capitalize on it. But if it didn't, they didn't beat up on themselves. They just tried something else. They didn't quit. And so that was such a great lesson to me, that like, you don't fail unless you quit. You know, just keep trying. Just try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else, and be willing to admit that something's not working. Like, it's, you know, fail fast.
Yeah, and the other thing that is really neat about places like that is just the sense of authenticity, because it's not a driven from the top down type of thing, saying that you
Right.
just can't set out to create something like that. It just has to happen, and when it does
Yeah.
happen, it's something really special.
And it really was. It really was. It was such a neat place to hang out and learn and just talk and catch up and have that one-on-one interaction, which, you know, back then most people weren't jonesing for like I was. I was working online. That was not everybody was doing that. So that was a, you know, special opportunity.
Way back when.
Back in the day.
It is interesting to think about that. So, and I'm sure I'd heard this before, but I hadn't thought about it recently. But for someone who has done a lot of online things, to have that physical place was a nice thing. And I think that's what a lot of co-working spaces probably try to push, is that community aspect.
But it's tough.
Tough.
Again, you can't just. It just has to happen.
The right people have to be there, and I felt like I was filtering people out by kind of being like abrasive towards the people that I didn't want to be there, right? Like, I was going to say a way worse word than that, but I decided that abrasive. I've matured in my life.
Well, and I think that's what's so cool about the entrepreneurial community is that it's self-policing. So if you have those people that Kathy was talking about that are trying to scam you and they don't know what it's like, I mean, they're just automatically pushed out of the group.
They were always welcome. But like people would let them, and
they're going to get found out.
Wouldn't last. People, like, I remember I had a banker come in once. And she said something to me. I don't remember who it was, but she was like, "Oh, we're so small business friendly," and I literally was like, "BS." I was like, if you were so startup and small business friendly, by the way, the majority of the businesses who walk in here have been in business for less than 1,000 days, which doesn't meet your criteria. So don't tell me, because you have to do these things with the bank, you have to be 3 years less or 3 years or more in records and yada, yada. And I was like, look, you don't have to give me a spiel. I don't want to hear a spiel. Just stop telling people that you are this thing when you clearly are not. If all you want to do is get people with a business account to sign up for your account, and that's what you think is small business friendly, sure. But you know what you're telling me is not true, and I don't think that person ever came back, because I was abrasive towards people, and I think a lot of people probably took that as like, this guy's such he's such a clown. I can't believe that this guy is like getting all this attention. But it's like, because I was that person, that's what brought the right crowd in, instead of just a bunch of people trying to hand out business cards and selling 24/7.
Yeah, we were really working there. It wasn't a bunch of posers. We were there in the trenches doing the work.
That's interesting, the word poser, because I feel like there is a lot of top-down thoughts of what entrepreneurship really looks like. And sometimes I question whether or not they think that people actually work, or they know what work actually looks like. And so that's interesting. Or you're just working on your computer. Yeah. So
you know, the interesting thing about that, Zach, is I really believe that nobody that, like, friends and family, have any clue of what I do day to day.
Yeah.
No idea. Yeah. And
even immediate family, husband, kids.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, they have they hear me talking about, well, I'm doing this interview, or I'm, you know, whatever, but what does that mean? They don't really know,
because they've been taught for so long. The compounding effect of that is saying, hey, this is what work looks like. Mm-hmm. And then somewhere in there, the internet came through, mm-hmm. and that changed everything, mm-hmm. where it allowed some people to make that a business. And it's not like those people who don't understand don't use the internet. Right. They just created their own career off of the internet.
Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, and it's delineated certainly by age. Those of us who grew up with the concept that you went to work 9 to 5 or much longer, and, you know, you just worked yourself into an early grave. Yeah, it's a tough, when you grew up thinking that, and that has been reinforced and reinforced, it's tough, I think, to make that switch and to feel like comfortable in this space, particularly when your friends don't know the language. Even they don't understand. When I first started a podcast, I remember people going like, what is are you on the radio? What's a podcast? People my age. And that's just, that's tough when everybody that you hang out with, everybody that you love is living a certain way, and you're kind of forging your own path that they don't understand and can't support. You have to have a real belief, a solid foundation in what you're attempting to do anyway, in believing that you're choosing the right path to stick with it. Because
do you have friends that aren't entrepreneurs?
Yeah, most of them are not entrepreneurs, which is interesting. I hadn't really thought about that till you just said that. Yeah, but
I took an inventory of my friends, like my good friends at one point, and I was like, they're all business owners.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That would be helpful. That would be really helpful to me. But
I don't think it has to just be like entrepreneurs type of thing. I think you surround yourself around the people that do things that you want to do, right? So it could be people in the MS world, right? Mm-hmm. It could be moms, soccer moms, soccer moms get a bad
volleyball
rep.
moms.
Volleyball moms, whatever.
Volleyball mom, thank you.
Maybe think of like running with Tim or like Tesla lovers and things like that.
Right.
And so it's like you have this club of people, that community, and it's so that's I don't know. It just made me think about that. But yeah,
and it all comes down to community. I just think you're going to do whatever it is that you're interested in, and whatever you want to push forward, whatever you want to do better in, you're going to do better faster in a community. I'm 100%.
Yeah.